Thank you for staying with us. It's time for our SME segment. We have Ikenna Ngbodile. He is the CEO of Smiling Sun. It's a solar energy installation company and a solar energy technology enthusiast and consultant. Now they provide solar installation services for homes, offices, industries, and even farms. Now that's a wonderful thing, considering that we have so much sun in Africa, and a number of people will say that we're not using the sun enough. It's great to have you, Mr. Ikenna. You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, solar energy. Now that is something that people. I remember there was, I think it was a documentary or something I saw of someone who came to Africa and was like, look, how is it that Africa is not almost entirely, reliant on the power of the sun, considering of how much sun we have here,
a lot of abundance
of sunshine that we have here. So it's something that it's something that someone shouldn't think about, like, hey, we have to rely on the sun. But due to a number of reasons, policies, government, and all of that, it hasn't happened. You are in that business, proffering or giving solution to power, as it were, and all of that. As a person, I'll just get to you now to that question. Oh, I'm talking about solar energy, but we'll just take a very, very short break. Mr. Ikenna is here. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, and we still have Mr. Ikenna here. We're talking about solar energy. Now, yes, we have that abundance of sun, but how effective is it? Solar energy, using it to power, ourselves or our homes and all of that. How effective is it as an energy source?
Yeah, solar energy is actually very effective. And the beautiful thing about solar energy is that it's environmentally very friendly. And for those who are in keeping with ensuring that you do not affect or trigger off climate change, this is the cleanest energy apart from wind energy. Of course, the nuclear energy is messy.
Yeah.
Your fossil fuels are messy, coals and all other alternative sources of energies are very messy. But solar energy is very clean, as it doesn't emit the greenhouse energy. And of course, just like your fossil fuels, which has carbon and hydrogen that is very harmful to the environment, the clean solar energy is very clean. And most importantly, it's actually renewable. So you could wake up one day and you find out that your oil or your gas is exhausted. Or solar energy is renewable, so it's always there. So it's very effective, considering that in Africa, for instance, you have, like you earlier mentioned, you have an abundance of sunshine. So there's these guys that are called the Union of Scientists. They did a research, and from the research, they discovered that 18 days of sunshine, that is 18 days of sun radiation, has more energy than your oil, your gas, and your coal put together in an entire year, just 18 days of sunshine. So I think that in Nigeria, we need to be heavily reliant on solar energy.
And that led you into business?
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the process. You getting into the business, how did you discover that this was what you were going to do? How did you know that I should go into this and, and decided to get into it?
Well, whenever people ask me that question, I always ask them, how much time do I have? Because it's a long story.
Okay, just let's put it down in 30 seconds, 1 minute.
All right, okay. So while I was growing up, I'll remember that I always used to fiddle a lot with wires. I was always intrigued about electronics chips like transistors and resistors and all of those things.
Okay.
When I was also growing up, my father was very strict. So he would always spank you at every opportunity he had if you fell out of line. So I remember one particular day I had unscrewed the back of a TV. Remember those back in the days, hunchback TV?
Definitely.
So I had taken it off, and my father walks in on me. At that point, if I had a magic wand, I would have waved it to disappear, because I knew I was going to get a lot of beatings.
A lot of beatings.
Well, surprisingly, he was more shocked than he was angry. He was just staring at me, because he just couldn't fathom that somebody could do this. Had the guts to take off the back of a TV. So I've always been like that in terms of fiddling with wires. But like 7 years ago, precisely, I started developing the interest in solar energy. These silicon cells that is enclosed in a glass frame that you expose to sunlight and light, and it begins to generate energy. So I started, digging more into it. I started doing a lot of research. I started doing a lot of courses. And, I realized I was now solving a lot of problems for people around me because I could get calls from my friends, I could get calls from my cousins or my colleagues. They're having this issue in their solar installation. What do you think? And I could offer solutions. Then it dawned on me, if you can solve this problem for these people, you can actually solve this problem and create some kind of ecosystem where you get to solve a lot of problems for other people as well. And that led me into, I started doing instructional videos where I could teach people about what is an inverter, what is the importance of an inverter, types of solar, all of those things. So I started putting out those videos.
The kid into social media.
Yeah, so that it could help people if you had installations and you're wondering how you could do this and all of that. Then I did a very controversial video because I don't just listen to what you have laid down or the research that has already been proven and stated. I try to practicalize on ground. That is where that my handy nature comes in. And I did a very controversial video, which was about testing the output of solar panels. So you have essentially two types of solar panels. You have a polycrystalline solar panel and you have a monocrystalline solar panel. Now, from all the research and everything you will see available, is always adjudged that a monocrystalline solar panel is always more effective than a polycrystalline panel. And that is owed to the very intricate process of having to build a monocrystalline solar panel. But I wanted to see for myself. So I got the tools down, like a watt meter, I got a battery, I got some testing implements, and I hooked it up onto these things. So I tried to test them simultaneously to see. So what I did was to take a solar panel from the same manufacturer, the same wattage. I think I used a 250 watts wattage from the same manufacturer, the same time, simultaneously. And I tested it, and the result was surprising.
It proved, what did it prove? That the
polycrystalline gives you more energy than a monocrystalline.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So the moment that video went out, that was a break. It got me the attention.
That you did it.
Yes.
Now, I wish we had more time, but there are a few things that, that separate the entrepreneur from, from every other person and all of that. Your father, at one point, maybe that incident, for you to remember it, it marked the beginning of something, know, and all of that. How can one develop that sort of entrepreneurial spirit, in case you see it in a child and all of that? How can one discover it and encourage it? From a parent to a child, or from a guardian to a ward, or even from a friend to another, any kind of relationship. How does one spot that entrepreneurial spirit and encourage it?
Okay, essentially, I think the problem, most of us, like our parents while we're growing up, they always wanted everybody to go to school. Mostly all of those career courses like medical, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer. But you need to watch your child closely to see what your child is prone to. Not every child is the book, is the book smart. And we also need to begin to separate what intelligence is. For instance, when you have a J.J. Okocha, for instance, playing on the pitch, what do you think he's doing? When he's playing and dribbling people, that's intelligence, but it is veered towards sports. So you need to watch your child closely. Is your child creative? Is your child fiddling with wires? What gives him interest? For me, for instance, I could be doing connection from morning till night and I wouldn't bother about food. So you as a parent, when you discover these innate qualities in your child, you begin to encourage that child and begin to aid that child in whatever given field you feel he's interested in. And coming to someone who's an entrepreneur, not everybody is built to have a paid job 9 to 5. Some people are naturally very restless. So even when you employ them, you see that they will still be trying to engage in, trying to, do other business on the side. So when you find out that you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you need to pursue it. But before you go into it, you need to be sure that's what you want to do, because that's essentially the passion is the feel that drives it. That
drives it, wow.
And when you push it, you continue moving. No matter how, even when it seems like it's not working out,
you just keep pushing. I wish we had more time. It's so good. I love what you've dropped. I love the gems you've dropped. You've dropped so much. I feel people can pick up from there. But for that, we have something for you in the kitchen. Hope you've not had breakfast. But just before that, we'll just take a short break, and we will be back in it.